Welcome to SAHPRA's show, Med Talk. SAHPRA is the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority. We're broadcasting from SAHPRA offices. With me in studio, I have Mr. Griffith Molewa. He is an employee at SAHPRA in charge of cannabis regulation, licensing and permits. He is about to embark on retirement, so we wanted to talk to him before he does so. Welcome, and he's popularly known as Griffith. So may I call you Griffith?
More than welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to start by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself, your career, and how you got into this joint, if I could use that word.
I'm a pharmacist by profession, and I worked in industry. Then there was a time when I felt now I need to plow back into the society. Then I joined government and landed up with the MCC.
Okay.
At that time, it was the MCC before it came SAHPRA.
All right.
And then one of the functions, which we were doing, it was more of the compliance.
Okay.
To ensure that there's compliance with the regulations. And as time evolved, one of the functionaries which were added was a regulation on cannabis for medicinal use.
Yes.
And that's where we are now today. We find ourselves in that space.
Okay. Let's talk about cannabis for medicinal use. Now there are two terms. One is CBD and THC. Would you like to just tell us about what these terms mean?
Before maybe I could start now going to that, when you look at cannabis as a plant,
Yes.
it has a number of constituents that of them. And among the major ones is the tetrahydrocannabinol and the cannabidiol, commonly known as CBD,
Yes.
and the other one THC.
Yeah.
Now the tetrahydrocannabinol is a psychoactive component of cannabis. That's a substance that gives you the high.
Yes.
And that's why now you find that cannabis is being regulated so tightly because of that CBD. The THC.
THC.
Now the CBD is a non-psychoactive component of cannabis. But having said that, the combination of the two have some medicinal purposes if used correctly. But now a lot of people, they will use cannabis just to get high, and that they're abusing cannabis, if you don't have to put it that way.
Yes. And this followed from the Zondo judgment. What do you think of the Zondo judgment? Did it make everything clear, or are there gray areas? Is it very clear for everyone?
When we look at the judgment, before that, the case was about religious use of cannabis, which now the Concord changed it to be for recreational use, but now not recreational as an open thing with limited use. Why do I say that? First of all, the cannabis can be grown by an individual in their private place. What is a private place? Is something now the government is working to define properly. Number two, it could be used also for by individuals in their private space again.
Okay.
And not to be used by under 18.
Yes.
Now, what happened after the judgment? A lot of people started now going the route saying, cannabis is now being decriminalized.
Yes.
And legalized. And now they started now coming now with a whole lot of concocting their own oils in their backyard. And it was okay if those oils were confined to them, because that would be regarded as private use. But unfortunately now, those oils are being now sold to the public.
Mm-hmm.
That's where now the difference in that of things, it is not an open thing, so now people can do it. Right. Just grow, extract oils and then sell it. It's got to be used responsibly in their private place and that other thing. Because now the minute you start now trading in that thing, it's an offense under the Police Act, some of the Police Act. Because now it would be deemed as we are trading in cannabis, and cannabis is still controlled under different legislations, like the Drugs and Drug Trafficking Act, the Medicines and Related Substance Act, and that.
And it's serious stuff, because if you take CBD and you're taking other medication, it can counteract it, it can affect it can give you side effects. And of course, it's got to be, these oils have got to be labeled and it's got to be advertised correctly.
You see, the danger, like I said now, the reason why SAHPRA has moved into the arena of the medical usage of cannabis is that now we have to look at quality of the product. Because now, remember, when you talk about medicine, a medicine is something that's going to be used on somebody who's already compromised,
yes,
health-wise, whether it be immune system or whatever, but you're already compromised. Now, if you are going to introduce a product which doesn't meet the quality criteria,
yes,
you're going to make that person worse. So you need to look at that. So you find that now these products now they are doing that, just bring them into, they haven't been tested for quality, they haven't been tested for safety. Well, efficacy, in most cases, you find that it's just a word of mouth. My grandparent was using this product for a number of years, and this is what happened, and that thing. It hasn't been proven.
yes.
Yeah, it's only nowadays now where you find that now evidence is that now emerging of the safety and the efficacy of the product. But what people don't realize that now, like any other medicine, there are certain medicines which you cannot mix.
Mix, yes.
And that would be detrimental. Either the medicine will become ineffective, one, or it could become detrimental to your health. It could just worsen your condition.
Yeah.
So you need to be very careful when you take a medicine, because now your doctor has to have an oversight of the medicines you use, so that now you can be able to counteract the so-called interaction to make it either worse or ineffective.
Yes. And it seems to be like it's open season. Like, I'll quote you two examples. One is the pizza chain that's now putting cannabis oil on their pizzas, calling it the Green Lady. And then there's another instance of it's a shop opposite the police station in Cape Town that's selling creams and oils. Is this allowed?
Let me just take a step back before I can answer that.
Okay.
When the laws were adapted to include the medicinal cannabis, a lot of people, and after the Zondo judgment, a lot of people started now, like I said, giving their own interpretation. And this led now to SAHPRA coming up with a second document which was published last month, where we're trying to clarify the position of the CBD containing products. And when you look at that publication, it's twofold. It's talking about health supplements, the so-called health supplements, and it's talking about the processed products. And processed products can be food, can be creams. Now, when you look at, let's start off with the health supplements. The health supplements shouldn't make any claims to say that it can treat cancer, it can treat pain or whatever. It shouldn't make all those claims.
Those claims, yeah.
And once it doesn't make that thing, then that's fine, we can do it. That's number two, it has to comply to in South Africa, it has to comply to the labeling regulation. Because now, this health supplement was never submitted to SAHPRA for evaluation.
Yes.
So you have to put in a disclaimer to show that now it was not done by
Yes.
SAHPRA, it's not approved by SAHPRA. So that whoever uses these things can make an informed decision whether to go ahead or not.
Yeah.
So now, based on those two, you find that now most of the health supplements you find on the market are sort of illegal because they don't comply to those things. And then the third part, again, was that now the maximum daily dividend dose. What we mean by dose, remember, you're going to take it by drops and drops and drops.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many drops you take in a day. The amount of CBD in those drops you took in a day shouldn't exceed 20 milligrams.
Yes.
That's important.
Okay.
But now, for men in the street, how do you know this is more than doesn't now.
Yes.
It's incumbent upon the manufacturer or the importer of such products to take these products to a reputable lab where it's going to be tested. And when I mean a reputable lab, it's a lab that has been approved by SAHPRA. And then once you get that certificate of analysis, say, no, this is what's happening, that's when you can put your product. So that if at all I feel as but I'm not sure this is a correct thing, and I approach the manufacturer as can you show me? Then you can simply go to your file and say, no, this particular batch was tested and was found to be compliant. That's the onus is upon that.
Yes.
Now, that's the first part of a health supplement. The second part was processed products.
Yes.
And then there's a caveat there where it says now, the CBD shouldn't be more than 0.075%, and the THC shouldn't be more than 0.001%.
Yes.
And also, the same thinking, it has to, as I said with the health supplement, it's incumbent upon the manufacturer of those products to show that now it doesn't. And normally, I mean, those products which will fall in the second category, mostly it will be the hemp seed oil.
Yes.
The hemp seed oil, because now that one you can do, but don't think just because it's a hemp seed oil, I can just put it onto the market. You still have to take it back to the lab again to be tested. To make sure that it's fully that of them. And like I said, the processed products, it could be your food, it could be your creams, it could be the lotions, or whatever you're going to use.
And putting it on food, like pizzas. How
now,
does that?
When you look at pizzas now, it's an illegal activity as far as SAHPRA is concerned, because now we don't know what is in that oil. It could be a high THC product, which is a psychoactive.
Yes.
Because there were some instances, not necessarily the pizza, where people took the drops, which are supposed to be CBD. But found that now they start experiencing some highs and that whole thing. So we just like to protect the public. So now just be wary of taking such things, and then especially a thing which you have never tried. And then we just bring it over your food and then say, no, I'm going to try it.
And should the pizza chain also not warn consumers that?
It should, by right, it should warn the consumers now, like they do with peanuts. I mean, they say now, this food might contain nuts.
Nuts, yes.
You know, that whole thing, they must warn people and they shouldn't do it. And that's now, it is not right, it's illegal what they're doing.
Yes.
Until it can be demonstrated it's done in a safe way, it's a hemp seed oil. Because, I mean, a lot of people, what they do, they will take hemp seed products and put it onto the market and say, cannabis. Yes, hemp is cannabis. But for the men in the street, when you talk about cannabis, you are talking about the high stuff. You know, that okay.
We're going to break to go to an ad break very quickly, and we'll be back just now. We are back with Med Talk with Griffith from SAHPRA. Griffith, I'd like to ask you about something else, very related to food. This is about energy drinks and about beer that's supposedly containing cannabis. Is that allowed?
Like I said, I mean, the cannabis which is put into food hasn't been tested.
Yes.
And people just jumped onto the bandwagon when they had the Concord judgment, and then when SAHPRA published the exemption notice, and then they just jumped onto the bandwagon and said, now, this is what we want to do. And until such time we have a proper framework or a policy, let me put it that way, we have a proper policy, that's when now people can start now putting into food. Like I said, I mean, in the past, there were some energy drinks which purportedly contained cannabis, and then they were taken for testing. We found that there was nothing, even a trace of that. Okay. But it's just I would say it's more deceiving the public.
Deceiving the public.
It's deceiving the public to make, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, to make more money. I might be out of context here, but that's how I feel. They just want to exploit the public, make more money, and by the time when the policy comes in, then they're out of the system with their millions in the bank safe, and that's it.
And the rule is that CBD was regarded as Schedule 7, then it was downgraded to Schedule 4, and now, of course, even that has been lifted for a period of 12 months. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? What prompted that decision?
Initially, like I said, when you look at, in South Africa, when you look at cannabis, because of its, at that time, it was regarded to have limited medicinal use.
Yeah.
So, and because of its psychoactive properties, it was deemed to be a Schedule 7 substance. What do I mean by that? A Schedule 7 substance, anything which is scheduled as 7 in terms of the Medicines Act
Yes.
in South Africa, it's a prohibited substance.
Yes.
It can only be used for educational research and research.
Yes.
Medicinal value is very limited. That's why you find substances like things like heroin, things like psilocybin. Those are with limited